going to be a bumpy night.
1, 2, 3. What's going on, guys? This is the Laugh Bunker podcast. My name is Josh. Paul, it's great to see you. And it's
great to see you again.
Yeah, it's it's March 25th. It's a Thursday afternoon, and this is our second attempt at recording. So, how's everything going?
Well, I mean, the first time was incredible. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
shame.
you know,
It was almost, and the
started out
truth
all right.
is, we didn't record it because of humility.
Yeah.
I mean,
was
it would have
too
just,
good.
it would have bummed out everybody that how bad they are as people and no talent and whatever. So really, as an act of humility, now we'll do this stupid stuff.
Yeah, it was too good, and it couldn't be seen. It'll just ruin people's days. So yeah, we need to we'll give them something subpar that they can live with.
Yes, exactly. That they can feel better about themselves. See, that's what we're just here as an icon for you to look up to and realize, man, I got to get it together.
Yeah.
I can't end up like these guys.
Yeah. So how's everything going with you?
Everything is great. My daughter came back from Michigan. She had been gone for a couple months. Helped seeing my mom, hanging with my sister. Nobody in my sister's house other than her. She's got a pretty big house.
Yeah.
But she experienced a winter. I mean, like they had feet and feet of snow while she was there. And but then, her classes are still online. She'll be done in May. She'll be graduated. And then today hiked with Moses, which was nice, kind of getting back in the groove for some big suffering in May and June. It's nice always to hike with him and always getting enjoy our conversations. He just knows a lot of stuff, and it's very fun. He's got a new drone.
Oh, cool.
And it is pretty cool because we were talking about the concept of some sort of movie thing.
Oh.
His drone shoots 1080 video. So I saw the footage, man, and I was thinking about, anyway, we'll talk about this at another time. So it was cool. I've never seen a drone up close, so it was pretty spectacular to see it in the woods and whatever. And then to have that bird's eye view of the trails we're going or have gone to or coming up. So anyway, did that, and then other than that, just finished a bunch of painting. And my daughter, I painted her bedroom and her bathroom. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what, I hate following other people who don't do a good job, because if a painter doesn't do a good job before you, the person who painted before we moved in, and this one room had been painted, but I mean, he must have had MS. or had an epileptic, or was drinking heavily, because it's just horrible, and you can't fix it.
No, you have to do double the work. You have to basically do.
It was horrible. So I painted. Yeah. So I had no break for about 2 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
So I've been just on a burn, and then my days were moved into the middle of the week. So I was off Tuesday, Wednesday, but then I had to go to the doctor. I go do this, whatever. Though did get a couple nice hikes in. So anyway, that's going well. And my wife's back to school full time.
Is still on Zoom though, right? Or no?
No. Oh, at campus.
Oh wow. So that's, how does she like that? How is she dealing with it?
Hates it.
Yeah.
It's a real job now.
How do they? How do they have it?
Ask your wife. Ask your wife what she thinks next fall, and then she'll give you the same reply. Trust me.
As far as they told her, next fall is this coming fall is a maybe, but most likely they're aiming for spring. Yeah.
No, really.
Yeah. So she's I think summer is definitely not on. I think they're still maybe waiting for the vaccinations to kick in, like the majority of them, and evaluate how they want to proceed. You know what I mean? It's got to be all insurance based, obviously. So I mean, they're just not taking any chances.
Wow. Yeah. That's bizarre. Well, anyway, my wife had 2 of the vaccinations, and the second one she felt queasy for a couple of days, but it's fine now.
Is your wife? It's a private school, right?
Yeah, Catholic.
So I think they have a little bit more of a leeway to, in terms of like, if they want to open and try it out, they can do so. I think because, my wife, which works for the city and all that, it's a little bit different. I think they have to abide by, I don't know, LA County
Well,
regulations.
I mean, it's just, the transition, anyway, well, I'll tell your wife the transition to the real classroom is very tiring.
Is yeah, I bet. Is it? Are
Plus,
they
my
doing?
wife
Are they
has to
doing
do a
masks? Or are they? How are they social distancing, or just back to normal?
mask. Oh, no, there's, distancing. It's only a percentage
Oh,
of the student. Truth is, I don't know what's going on up there.
okay.
I don't want to say, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I know my wife goes, I mean, maybe she's, I don't know, but she goes to the school and
Yeah,
they have so many things
yeah.
and so many people and whatever. And they just did a showcase up at the, outside where they had the play last time
Okay.
by the villa out front. So they had a outside thing. It is, she says it is what you just, you can't work with people on Zoom and try to translate it into a live performance. But anyway, one of the girls had this music video that was pretty stinking incredible, to be honest with you. I was
Yeah.
pretty impressed. And it's just a little showcase of monologues, whatever. So, and then
So
other than
as far
that,
as her class size is, basically probably like a portion or a percentage of her original class size. Does that
I
mean
think so. I
some?
don't, you know what? I'll find out more. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I'm speaking ignorantly here, which I am always speaking ignorantly. But
Well,
in this instance, um,
I'm wondering, are they like rotating the kids? Like half the class one day, half the class the next, half the class one day, half the class next. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
send me
Ask. Yeah. We'll do
send
it.
me a questionnaire and I'll run it by the boss and I'll get
Because
back to you next week.
yeah, because I'm curious. I'm curious how it's going. We'll recap everybody next week.
Yeah, well, I mean, but she did say that, to go from Zoom to go in person and be working is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's definitely probably an adjustment for sure, because it's just to get back to that old way of of doing things.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird
She's
thing,
been
but
off for like a
anyway.
year from that, so
No, yeah, well, yeah. I guess for me it was March 22nd. So yeah, for me it's been exactly a year since I got a vacation.
yeah, same, yeah. Oh well, we're coming, yeah, yeah, right. March 20, yeah, it was about a year to the date. So
This will be my yeah, and that was my first, yeah, because we St. Patrick's Day was just a work day and no one did
mhm,
it. It was just a weird situation. But
yeah.
anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, so other than that, how about you? Everything good? Other
Uh,
than what we were talking about?
no, what we talked about earlier, not so much, man. I've been, feeling a little under the weather, just random, like, just, yeah, a lot going on outside of, the pod. So, just catching up to me, and I think because I've been under the weather and haven't been able to work out and get that release,
Hmm.
it's just been on me. So yeah, it's been rough. I would say that it's probably yeah, it hasn't been easy, but I'm hopefully getting through it, and
How's your son?
he's doing good.
How's your wife?
She's doing good. Working like crazy, and nothing's really changed for her. They're both doing really well, and yeah, well, I mean, as far as they're concerned, everything's good. It's just I'm the one that's falling apart. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what about so are you gonna look for a job or are you gonna just
Yeah. Well,
are you?
I've been looking for a job, and that might help. In terms of like, the ailments of what I'm going through, as far as for the most part, docs are concerned, it's all pretty good. It's just, a lot maybe stress related, and the body just reacting. It's crazy how the mind works, man. So it's definitely the most challenging time I've been in, for sure, in terms of like physical, like health. Like it's weird how it just right away it piles on, and how it affects you. So definitely like the most challenging time for sure I've ever been through in that sense. And it's a heavy topic, but it kind of is, man. It's crazy. I've never experienced anything this heavy. I think because one, a lot of time on your hands, two, not being able to physically get that, you know, that what's it called, that stress relief from, like, doing workouts and all that, being kind of put on the sidelines from that, and also dealing with everything. So it's not easy, and that's why the whole importance of just like working out and getting, being active, and it's really
Got to get
important.
outside.
Got to get outside. So it's definitely important, and I think more more than any other time, it's really shown that, like, yeah, like I in times like, these, like a regular exercise and being healthy like that is just like, it's super important. So because, yeah, at least for me, I internalize a lot of stuff. So if I can't get that stuff out, man, and in some sort of way, it's eating me alive, and that's what basically what it's doing right now. So I'm trying to get through that.
Well, I mean, I'm in some ways, even though where I work is kind of it's just whatever. But
Yeah.
I have a chance that I talk to people all day. And so
Yeah.
at my job, I just make jokes and help people and whatever. And so it is really nice. That's a great break for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, the
And definitely
truth is,
the interactions, those healthy interactions with people, you know what I mean?
well, they're not always healthy.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Not for them. I
But
mean,
it's better than being, cooped up and not having those interactions. Yeah. So.
but I will tell you that I'm very entertained in my own head. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
because, I keep a lot of people up there. So
I
I'm never
gotta.
bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a couple of them that are assholes.
Yeah.
So, we keep them in their own little apartment.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting. I went, like I said, I went hiking with Moses today, but I do enjoy hiking by myself immensely. And I
Hmm.
found that running for many years. I mean, the weightlifting was never gave me this great feeling, but there was
Yeah.
a great camaraderie in a community, which is emotionally fun. You is a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so to speak. Especially with many of the guys I worked out with in Chicago, we went to the same church. A lot
Yeah.
of us worked on some of the same crews, so therefore, it was the same people, and that was the community built. But I found that for me, running was really the most effective way in the city to just get a break from everything. And I could
Mm.
never run with music
No.
because I'm running with the beat. And again, when you listen to rock and roll, that beat's going like hell. So
Yeah.
you got
Like,
to push
yeah.
it. So I like it in my own head. That's how my psychology works. And I found that I'm allowed to sort everything.
Yeah.
And the hiking is just that. I can't run like I used to. I tried during the beginning of the pandemic, but I kept
Hmm.
trying to push it to where my cardio was from hiking,
Yeah.
and I can't run concrete. I mean, I
Hmm.
live in a jungle, and in Chicago, we lived along the lake there. I mean,
Yeah.
we had the whole lakefront that was just had a cinder path that was 16 miles.
Yeah.
But you are correct. The sweating, the Greeks say you got to have the spiritual, the emotional, and the physical all in a good balance, and
Hmm.
that rings true.
Yeah.
Unless you're stupid, and then you can only get two. But
Yeah.
even 2 out of 3 is not bad. You
Yeah.
know
It's
what
not
I
bad.
mean? Because
Yeah.
if you are a professional baseball player, the greatest of the game fail what, 3, 4, or 7 times out of
Mhm.
10.
Yeah.
Usually. So I mean, if you got just, if you're fit
Hmm.
and spiritual, you can do without the brain
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you can beat up those with the muscles to take care of it and then repent.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really the best system I could think of right now for like mob guys.
So when you're
It's
running, it's all in your
sorry.
head. You're all so when you're running, it's all in your head, and it's the thoughts that go, like, you're working out routines, or you're working on jokes, or working out a script in your head, or thinking about projects. Is that what?
I just I have I I don't know if I don't I'm my brain never stops
Mm,
ever. If I
yeah.
hear something, then I like if you say something, I have a reply in my head instantly. I don't
Yeah.
think of it. It just is there. I don't know what it is. It's
Yeah.
probably sin. is what it is. Satan. It's Satan whispering to me. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what my wife would tell you it was.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy creating. My mind just thinks. I think of just, I don't know. I don't get bored in my head.
Yeah.
Though the other day it was funny. My wife was went from her showcase and then went over to the airport, and I thought I was going to fall asleep, and I'm on this weird schedule. And for the first time, I was like going through TV stuff. It's like nothing would stick,
Mhm.
even the old
Mhm.
favorites. I just didn't care. I don't know if I was very tired from just painting all day or whatever. But anyway, it was interesting. So I put a lot of stuff on, and nothing just hardly stuck with me at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a
Same.
weird
Well, you know
thing.
what? For me, it's like it's been kind of like hard to watch anything new. I would say, just a couple of the podcasts that I watched just to get by. But I've gone to kind of some of the old, the regular goodies. You know what I mean? Like a Zodiac or a Social Network or something like that I put on, maybe a Star Trek episode or whatever. But as far as new, started the Formula One series, the third season, the newest season. So I started that last night. That's probably the
Yeah, I
new.
saw that at the top of Netflix,
Yeah, that's probably the newest thing
right?
yeah, that's probably the newest thing that I've ventured into. That just came out. Trying to think of anything else. I guess we're talking about what we've been watching. So yeah, so Formula One is the newest thing, and I highly recommend that. This new season is super interesting. It's basically the COVID season, how they transitioned during that time. Um, I checked out the director's cut of Justice League. That was hugely promoted and on
What is that,
HBO.
Zack Snyder or somewhat? Well, who was it now?
Yeah, Zack Schneider. So what ended up happening was he was directing the movie, and then he had to drop out because family crisis. So his daughter committed suicide and all that
Oh,
during
really?
the production. So he dropped out.
Oh,
Josh Whedon came in to cover, and he's got his own controversies. I guess once he stepped in, he treated everybody like crap. So um,
well, that
and
goes
and
back to Buffy, I heard.
yeah, and Whedon basically put out the movie the way it was with a mixture of Snyder's you know directing and his directing. So when Snyder a lot of the fans knew that there was a whole, Snyder had his whole vision, and that was never really completed. So it caught on a line, and basically HBO and Warner Brothers finally, like, heard the fans, I guess, and gave him Snyder the resources to put it together. And that's what he ended up doing. He ended up, I think, filming a couple of new stuff, a couple of reshoots, got all the old footage that he used and some of the stuff that made the theatrical cut, and just basically pieced together a movie. It was like a 6-part movie. It's almost 4 hours long. Um, I thought he did a good job. You know what I mean? For what he was able to do to piece something together, like way after the fact, I thought he did a good job. Um, it didn't seem, it was a long movie, but it didn't seem overwhelmingly long because it filled in a lot of stuff and added a lot of new stuff to the original story, and a lot of new footage, and really fleshed out all the characters the way they should have been. Theatrical cut didn't really give half the characters any justice, and didn't do even the main characters like Superman and Batman any justice. It was just a whatever movie, and not a lot of backstory to the plot. So I think he did a really good job for what he was able to do after the fact. I thought it turned out really well. And the last act, the fourth act, I thought that was great. I mean, I thought he did a good job, great job.
Who's
So
in? Okay, so for someone like me,
yeah.
what superheroes are in there? Who is
Oh,
that?
this is DC Comics. So this is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. They have a newer superhero that's kind of a more the younger generation knows more as a cyborg, and those are the main guys. The you know, those Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman are probably some of the most popular comic book characters of all time. So probably the most popular comic book characters of all time. So it's those guys.
Who's number one?
Um, honestly, if you go worldwide, I don't know, man. Nowadays, you might get mixed answers, but I would still say Superman. That's, you know, in multiple countries and all that stuff. I would probably say Superman, maybe Batman. It's that close second.
Well, I
Wonder Woman
think with
third.
all the Christopher Nolan movies,
Yeah, you think Batman? I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised Batman too.
because where comics are not read, those movies have been played.
Yeah, and
And
Superman hasn't
Superman,
done that.
what? No, it
Yeah.
just hasn't really caught with the national.
Well, they haven't really given it as much attention as a Batman's. You know,
Oh,
Batman's had a lot of movies compared to like,
well, Batman was bred in the '60s on TV too.
yeah, and with Batman, you had the Nolan movies, and then you have the Pattinson movie, and then you have like the couple of them with Ben Affleck. So he's gotten a lot of movies, and I think with Henry Cavill's Superman, which is the most probably recent major Superman, I think probably the best one aside from Christopher Reeve. Um, he's only had like one solo movie, so it's like they really haven't invested in Superman
Well,
at
if he's
all.
Superman, you think he'd go in the office and say, "I'm going to wreck all this shit." So listen,
Yeah,
I'm going to need a movie here, or guess what? You're not going home tonight.
yeah. I would think they would give the Superman you know, his due, but you know, Warner
Or
Brother.
unless Superman has got these secrets through
Yeah,
tapes and different things. And so every time he goes into the studio, they're like, well, you had more than tights on here.
yeah, he's too controversial. You know, he it the thing with Warner Brothers and what you hear, especially with their DC Comics properties, is that with every movie, and they never turn out the way they should, or at least how they're promoted, or what they could their potential. But what you hear all the time is the executives stepping in. The studio changed this. The studio didn't want this. The studio told them no for this, and it's like with every it's a reoccurring theme. So it seems like
Because where are these movies' ultimate goal is?
to make money, but
Yeah,
they're
but
but
to where though?
in I mean as of
Where?
now the biggest market is China for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they
In fact, would you say, and I don't know, but it seems like to me that the Marvel movies make most of their money overseas.
oh yeah, especially China, and they've
Is
they've
that
they've
correct, right?
yeah, and they've made some like especially Disney has made a lot. They've come under fire a lot for various projects, like Mulan and all these other movies, where they change like a version. They put out a Chinese version basically. Um,
A whitewash version.
yeah, yeah, and you know people get up in arms about it, but you know I get it. It's communist China. It's China. You got to if you want to get into that market, you got to play by their rules and their ways of thinking and values and how they think about race or sex or whatever. It's they they don't align a lot with how our country works. So it's kind of I think people get crazy on Disney for bending, you know, to China's will, but money talks. So I don't know. That's basically
No, and you are totally correct with
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And that's how everything works.
yeah.
There's
And that's
enough money is on the top of every, I mean, that's just how it works.
yeah,
And that's why we don't have hardly any Oscar movies anymore, because the studios are not investing in Oscar movies like they did in the 70s and 80s. In fact,
yeah.
I just heard that in an interview with Francis Ford Coppola that they are doing the making of the Godfather movie. And you know the whole story between Robert Evans, the famous producer, and
Yeah,
Francis Ford Coppola, and back and forth, not wanting
yeah.
Brando, De Niro, Pacino was almost fired. The battle. Jake Gyllenhaal's playing Robert Evans.
Oh, okay.
And something about that guy that brings a seriousness to whatever projects he's in. That's my feeling about him
No,
personally.
I think we both like Jake Gyllenhaal, and especially like I watch almost everything the guy's been in recently. And I think he's one of those people, you see him in it, you know whether the movie's good or not, that he's gonna
Well,
bring
even
it.
his sister too. His
Yeah,
sister's another one. They're just they bring it,
they
and
bring it every movie. It doesn't matter what movie it's in, even if the movie
like Gene
sucks.
Hackman in the old days,
Yeah,
his performance was spectacular no matter what,
yeah.
and he took whatever it was.
What,
But I'll tell you
what's
what,
your favorite?
talk about what are you gonna?
What's your favorite Gyllenhaal movie or performance that you can off the top of your head?
I have two.
Uh,
One is where he plays the kids getting into the rockets, and
yeah,
he becomes the NASA engineer. October Sky,
October
right?
Sky. Yeah, I think that was like
Uh,
one of his first big major
Laura Dern
roles.
plays the teacher,
Yeah, yeah, that was one of his
and
first big ones. Yeah,
and to me, brains are everything. So in
Mhm.
other words, growing up, the science, I grew up in that era of NASA and the space shots, and
Yeah,
I had a teacher that was like a science teacher, Mr. Noble, that was like big. I mean, he got us into the whole deal, everything.
hmm
And I love that movie. And then this is going to sound crazy, but my second favorite is Nightcrawler, where he's the guy with the video. And it's
yeah,
not okay, it's not the greatest movie. It has some mistakes, but I thought for him to step out in that character was just different. I loved it. I loved the movie
yeah,
personally. Because TMZ wouldn't exist without people like him.
yeah. That's basically the like a yeah.
Paparazzi, well,
It's a
extreme
paparazzi.
paparazzi,
It's an extreme paparazzi movie for sure.
but I
But
liked it. I loved this character.
I,
What
I
about you?
I would say, I love that movie too. I would say, as far as movie that I go back to over and over, I think we can probably both agree is probably Zodiac. Um, as far as performance, one of my favorites was Jarhead.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah,
movie too. But
yeah,
it's the problem with Zodiac.
yeah,
Okay, here's my problem with that in him is that every time Robert Downey Jr. walks into the room, he just melts everybody.
yeah. He does.
So
Yeah,
that to me is ensemble piece.
yeah, yeah. That's why. And as far as a
So do you,
movie,
yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
performance though, where I would say Jarhead, and it's another good one. Um, I really liked Nightcrawler. What's another one? I mean, the only one other I could think of at the moment, I got to go through his IMDb, which I probably could right now, but I would say um, Donnie Darko. Right.
Oh,
Yeah. I thought that was a great one too.
yeah. That's one of his first movies, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was one of his first well, I mean, he was a little older. I think he was older than he was in October Sky, for sure. He
Oh
was,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
definitely. But
where he had to carry the movie. Yeah, he was definitely.
well, I mean, he's been in tons of movies, so we won't talk about the Prince of Persia.
Yeah, I didn't even bother seeing that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, no,
Uh,
you probably shouldn't.
no.
But anyway,
And
and I'll tell you what, though,
yeah,
David Ayers, The End of Watch with Michael
yeah,
Pena,
I was about to say that too.
I
I think he did
really
great.
like that, to be honest. So, but he has tons, but though Nightcrawler is one of my favorite because it was what I didn't expect from him personally.
Yeah, yeah.
I did see the boxing movie too, Southpaw.
What'd you think about that one? I think for me, I
Oh,
was
I like the
interested.
director, but
Yeah, I was interested, but then honestly, what took me out of the movie were the fight scenes.
yeah, well,
What did you think? Even for a boxing movie, I think I've seen more realistic fight scenes in, like, let's say, The Fighter than I did in that movie.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's why I think it took me out of it a little bit.
Well, and you're so well versed in the fight game, so
Yeah, yeah, but I mean,
obviously
you're a big boxing fan too. What did you think about it?
it's not a character that I loved. And
Yeah,
if you can't get behind, then it's hard to do it.
yeah.
Hard to jump on the bandwagon. But
And
I mean, there's some great
he
boxing
got
movies
jacked for
too.
that movie.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
he
he
was.
got a great drug program, I'm sure.
I think he was probably definitely more beefed up than he was in like Jarhead. In Jarhead, he was in shape,
Well,
but
more beefy
he
though.
was more lean.
Yeah.
This one,
Yeah,
yeah,
he was cut to shreds.
he was shredded.
And it is amazing because when people do get caught, like when you see these bodybuilders and they look so massive, but some of these guys are not that big. They're, like 190, Chris Dickerson, Mr. Olympia, he was 205.
Yeah.
It looks like a monster, but when you're cut, you look big at even a lighter weight. And then with the camera, he did look good. But you know what? And then he did the Everest movie, which I didn't like that much, but
Oh yeah. I mean, there were some in his IMDb that I didn't really, dive into. I kind of passed over. So I'd say he does have that in his film catalog. You know what I mean? But he's got some really good ones for sure.
yeah, I just like the different one. But I mean, he's been around for a long time and he's young. He'll keep doing. But if he does this Godfather movie, it should be kind of interesting. Though I'm a little worried because I tried to watch Mank again, and I just couldn't get into it. And then I watched The Trial of the Chicago Seven. It's the Aaron Sorkin movie. It's also Oscar nominated. I mean, it's a great piece, but it just looks like I'm watching TV, or which I am. I am watching TV. So those two I couldn't. But then I did put on had to go back old school, so I put on No Country for Old Men.
Oh, it's a great one, of course.
It's just spectacular on every level. I mean, just
Every
from
level.
the opening scene.
I mean, I would say, is that movie like? Is there any faults in that movie? Is there anything in you that just takes you out of it? No, not for me at all, really. Like pacing, drama. What takes you out of that movie? Anything?
Nothing. I mean, the movie is just Tommy Lee Jones' opening monologue at the beginning and the final one at the end. Just such a great rap.
Yeah.
And I love. It's just a great story, and I just love Josh Brolin in it.
Yeah, great.
And I just think he's did a great job. It's one of his good movies, and the Coen brothers. I mean, you just feel uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah, and you're like biting your nails from the decisions that some of these characters make, and you're like, oh, like if you like if you would have just done.
And definitely the scene at the gas station between the old man and what's his name? My head.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, that scene right there about the corridor is just incredible. And even Roger Ebert said that was one of his top scenes in film. I mean,
it's a classic scene.
Well, it encapsulates the whole film.
Yeah.
In that 2 or 3 minutes, and I think it's a great film. That's one of my recommendations. I spent a little time on this. So I tried the 2 Oscar ones, couldn't get into it. I had a week, stressful and tired week, and I just needed something to laugh about myself. So I put the Chappelle Show on.
Okay,
and I watched.
What'd you think about his whole drama to like, get paid for that? Because when he first did it, the contract that I guess he had with Comedy Central was like pennies, and they basically owned it. And I guess he's at the level he's at now, where he put out a tweet telling everybody to boycott the Chappelle Show until they pay him for distributing that stuff. So
really, to be honest with you, I didn't know exactly what that meant. I saw the tweet. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't read up on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, basically he had an issue with the fact that he felt like he never was fully compensated for doing all the work on that show, which I think people will criticize, well, you signed the contract in the beginning, you got basically what you deserved in a way, but I think
so he didn't have a residual clause on the contract.
No. I think because of his.
Well, that's a bad entertainment lawyer for him, to be honest with you. Because I would think that would just be standard wherever it would be picked up. I would thought that would be the law of being in the union. To
Yeah,
be
I don't
honest with
I
you.
don't think maybe he got residuals, but he was never like, I don't know what, I didn't really into it either, but I know it was a financial thing, basically. What held that up and took it down, and Netflix ended up paying him, and
Well, this is a
yeah,
sketch show
yeah.
and so I watched couple episodes. I watched the Carol Burnett show.
Mm,
Just great sketch comedy.
yeah.
I mean, just great stuff. And then I watched the Dean Martin roast. They're also on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So they have one where they're roasting Dean Martin.
Okay. Which those
And
are classic. Those are funny when they have
it's led by Don Rickles.
yeah, I was gonna say when
So
they have
he
Don
goes
Rickles.
through and rips everybody from Barry Goldwater to Muhammad Ali to Hubert Humphrey. I mean, these are
Yeah.
like big time people.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Namath there. I mean, just like anyway, the comedy. I hate to say it, but my comedy does represent is kind of more Don Ricklish, kind of a little bit more
Same with,
jabbing, but
yeah, same for when I like to see comics, I like to see them when they have those creative kind of like, just, I want to say shock comedy, but they're not afraid to take it there. And Don Rickles is like the, just the originator of that in a lot of ways.
oh, he just was so funny and brutal. And
And never, honestly, he never kept put his foot off the gas, really, even up to he was still the same wit, same, line, angle of jokes, and went at people the exact same way like he did back in, during the Rat Pack days. It was like,
well, that's Johnny Carson's favorite person is
mm,
Don Rickles. And you never heard a negative thing
no,
about him
I
ever.
always wanted to meet him too.
Yeah, he was in Casino. Remember, he played
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
pit bull boss there,
Yeah.
and or the pit boss, not pit bull boss, pit boss.
Yeah.
But so really, this week, to be honest with you, I was just comedy. I don't know if I'm just needed it or I was
Yeah.
so exhausted I didn't want to think because of storyline. But I did watch Norm Macdonald's Hitler's Dog, Gossip and Trickery, and it was just spectacular.
Yeah.
His delivery, every joke. I laughed out loud,
Hmm.
and I've for some reason I've watched other of his stand up, but this to me with the timing, maybe it was just my life and my mental state itself,
Yeah.
it knocked it out of the park. My
He did.
favorite watch of the week, and I talked to a couple other people who have also watched it, to be honest with you, who
Hmm.
and really liked it. So I loved it.
I loved it
That
too. That's one that I can, I've seen it stand up, and I love it stand up, but this one, yeah, that one's a special one. That one, you could I could watch it now, and even though I heard the jokes before, I was still, it's still funny. I'll still laugh,
no,
so
and it is it's a stand up that you can watch the visual, but you can listen to the jokes because that's how well scripted they are. You don't need to see a visual with them
yeah.
for them to be a home run.
Yeah,
That's pretty
he paints a
positive.
picture. Yeah, he paints a picture that you don't even need to like see what he's
Oh, and
doing.
the whole it's so funny. So he talks about the first time he took acid, the guy said, "Yeah, and you 20 years you could have flashbacks." And you got to be real careful. And it was
Yeah.
funny because when I was in high school, I remember that being said, saying, "Hey," but he said, "Oh, what a great deal," because then I'm getting a 2 for 1. But and it anyway, I enjoyed it. And the truth is that
What
the Dean Martin celebrity roast.
was it? Did he have a neighbor joke in there, or was that something else? Oh no, okay, okay. So have you seen his show that he had on Netflix, his talk show?
No, I
Oh,
watched. No, you sent me
mm-hmm.
one time, but not even last year. It's been a while. You sent it to
Yeah,
me. I
it's
thought.
been a couple of years.
I think it was when I was at the Westin. You showed me. In fact,
Yeah,
it was a 3-person deal
yeah. It'd be
that I
him.
saw, if I remember.
Yeah, it was him, his co-host who manages the Comedy Store, and
Oh, really?
yeah, he does like the
Oh,
lineups. He's a main guy there, and then a celebrity guest. but I'll send you on YouTube his, because at the end of the show he does like these jokes. He tosses out these jokes. Some are good, some are bad, but he does. I'll send you the outtake. I'll send you like a compilation.
Yeah, send me that. I
Yeah.
would like to see that. But yeah, no,
Funny, man.
no, his routine was great. It was
Mhm.
a nice break, and it's weird because there's so many comedians on Netflix now. It's almost oversaturation. Like,
It
if that
is.
makes sense, everybody's doing a show, whatever.
They're
And
they're
it's
ha- they're handing
interesting.
out specials like candy.
Yeah, and
And most of these people you don't even know really, which is
well,
kind of good for them, I guess. But
I watched let's see. Really, truth is, the Dean Martin, the Carol Burnett, No Country for Old Men. I did watch the second episode of, or second season, one couple episodes of The Crown with Claire Voy. My wife really likes that show,
mm-hmm.
and she's phenomenal in it. And not, I didn't watch it because of what's going on now, but it's just interesting that how far back. I mean, really, our whole world pretty much comes off of Britain.
Yeah, especially our whole
No, I mean
modern.
civilization of everywhere in the world, pretty much. Would you say that they're the biggest influence in modern
Uh,
times
yes, yeah. Other cultures have
after
influence.
Poland,
Yeah,
of course?
yeah, yeah. And other cultures, yeah, have influenced, let's say, the American society in ways like the Greeks and and all that. But yeah, I would say the British have had their hand on, like, has been involved in almost every developed country at this point, has had interactions or has overseen or ran a country like they basically owned India like up until what year?
49, maybe,
Yeah. So I mean, they're
when it split to Pakistan too.
uh-huh. So yeah, I think so too, especially our civilization, yeah, our country. What do you think? Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I would think so too. I
Yeah,
mean, the good and the bad, obviously, but
yeah.
it's interesting. You watch The Crown, and man, and we talked about this last week with Meghan Markle, but the truth is, I watched this like, man, I couldn't. I just don't understand. I couldn't, even if I have millions of dollars, I'm just not that kind of person. Do you know what I mean? I
To
don't know. I
what?
don't know. It just seems so weird to have like a royalty thing in today's
Oh,
world.
to live in that, yeah, to live in that kind of like their world. Yeah, it is very
I mean,
old and
it's kind of an interesting thing. Oh, he's got the name. Oh, he's got the name. Well, if he's got the
yeah,
name, then well, he's the
yeah,
man. So, but it's like, but those guys that got the name, they got the name by crushing other names.
basically, yeah. I mean,
Whoever has the most powerful name is the royalty guy, right?
and yeah, but it is kind of nice to see how, like, even like with Britain and a lot of other countries that have royal families, that they still keep up that tradition, and keep it going, because they don't. I guess no generation wants to be the one to take it all down. You know what I mean? So, and they say that Queen Elizabeth is still, like, conspiracy theorists, that she still is a very powerful
She's a
person.
very, it's interesting. So I watched this show on The Crown, and I would
Yeah.
imagine they would be somewhat historically correct. I would imagine they're
Yeah, you
the
kind of have to
people,
be with that
but
as a show. Yeah.
as well, Billy, I know it sounds crazy. There's an episode where Billy Graham, the famous
Hmm.
evangelist from the U.S., you're
Uh-huh.
familiar with him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That it showed his first crusade when she
Uh-huh.
was the young queen. Then she watched it and whatever, and had a meeting with him.
Okay.
And then it came out that her uncle had been a Nazi sympathizer, and all these
Mm,
papers came out at the Windsor. And so her last, she called him back about forgiveness. And
yeah.
it's a very interesting, if you can't, he did say something which Billy Graham would, of course, be all scripturally sound,
Yeah.
everything he would say, but he did talk about forgiveness. And he
Uh-huh.
talked about, if you can't forgive, then you just can pray for those people and like give it up. But it was a very interesting conversation between the Queen. And it's interesting, if that is a true story, think about her life and I mean what she's seen from the wars and whatever, and to be
Yeah.
isolated, but yet looked up to with that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm sure that there's people that are not the nicest people, but I seem like for her, she seems like a person of stability or
Yeah.
uh, I
From
don't know
what?
anything about her. We haven't hung out in a while because
Yeah.
I made a few bad jokes one time about Philip, the scarecrow jokes. It didn't go over well. So anyway, but there's something about her that's very resolute or
Yeah.
has integrity or there's something there that sticks out. Would you agree with that?
I agree. From the way she's portrayed, and the way and what we do know of her, and how you see her interact with certain other celebrity people that maybe come and visit, and you've seen her take pictures, and she just seems has that like natural, normal kind of way of going about things. Like I don't know who it was. Maybe it was somebody. They took a picture with the Queen, and she just seemed like a nice old lady. It didn't seem like she was like,
Did you see
serious.
her playing bass with Motley Crue?
No, no, is that a real thing?
This on well, it was a little unsettling the way she hung the bass so low. It was just like so unseemly for her. But
Was
no, I
that, is
mean,
that
of
a, is
course
that a real thing? I was
not.
like,
No,
I can believe
God
it. I don't know.
forbid.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, she
She's
seems like
more. I
a
mean, she was. She goes back to the Beatles. When the Beatles were big, she was already old. No, but it's
it is interesting to
interesting,
see.
or older.
Yeah, it is interesting that she's still, still alive and kicking, doing her
Well,
thing.
think about people who are really like your generation when you get old, but my generation has people that go back to the 19, to there's probably people still alive. No, there's probably no one. Is there anyone alive from the 1800s still? No, right?
No, no.
Because the oldest person was like 120 who died lately, or didn't someone die recently?
Yeah, there is like 120.
Yeah, something like
Um,
that. So,
so no, I think we're into the early 1900s at this point.
okay.
Yeah,
So, but
but
but when I
it's
was born,
still,
people
yeah,
from the 1800s.
we're
Now
still alive.
think about the technology
Yeah,
and the industrial revolution. So think about from like if you were born in 1900 or
yeah,
late 1890s. So you're 10 or 12 and there's these things called cars. And then the whole war is World War One and then World War Two. And you're
yeah,
old.
yeah. I
But
think
look
I,
at that.
I think my wife's grandmother, her grandmother, her great grandmother, I don't know I think maybe her grandmother, who passed away a while ago. I think mentioned like because her favorite invention. She was probably alive before TV, obviously, but her favorite invention over the past how many years up until the point she died was the microwave.
Really?
Yeah, because
Mine's candy.
it just made yeah, but it just made, I think, as like a, cooking in the kitchen, or it just serving people meals, it just made, cut time and preparation in half, and yeah, so the
You know what
microwave.
I don't get with the microwave though?
Mm.
Okay, we put people on the moon in the 1960s on
Yeah,
paper, and you can't make a microwave that heats evenly. So I bite into something, it's cold, and I go 1 inch more, and it's molten lava.
yeah,
It's like there, and then do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it doesn't cook even. It just seems to pick the point that will cause the worst damage to my mouth on
yeah,
purpose.
yeah. That is weird how that works. It is
And
weird
then
how
the
that works.
rest of the meal is shot.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like if you have a hot pepper,
yeah.
you know. Have you ever had the Thai hot peppers?
Um,
They're the real little red ones and green and
yes,
yeah. I
not on its own,
some
but like in a soup, or like, yeah, I've had that. Yeah,
well, I tried to eat them being a tough guy against this other guy in Chicago one time. I think his name was Andrew Mendel. And I had like two, and then it didn't matter what I ate, everything was just seared. It hurt so bad.
yeah,
It doesn't, even habaneros didn't come to that much of burning.
No, well, no,
Do
I'm
you
not.
like hot food or no?
I do. I do like spice, especially for spice for flavor. I put spice on almost anything, like tapatio or even hotter. But um, yeah, I guess it gets to a point that it just the the dish or whatever you're eating is completely just overshadowed by the sauce. And yeah, then that's where I kind of draw the line.
If it's
It's gotta
smoking,
it's gotta complement what I'm eating. I don't want it to overwhelm and burn my insides for the next couple of days. Yeah, yeah. So there is a limit to where I enjoy it. But have you ever been to one of those hot sauce stores where they just sell nothing but hot sauces? And
I'm
then
too weak.
no, there's
They can
some.
smell me out. As soon as I walk in, they know how weak I am, and then they make fun of me and I leave.
I think in
They
Long
talk
Beach,
about
there's a in
I'm
Long Beach at the pier over there, the boardwalk there. There's a store that it's just like a smaller store, but it's like all every wall is covered in various hot sauces, and they have a tasting station in the middle. Um, there were some, yeah, there was ones that are just beyond hot, and I don't even think it was that hot for some people that really enjoy that
yeah, I don't
stuff.
like it super hot. It has to have some taste, but if it's in a large amount of food,
Yeah,
then I can absorb the heat.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I do. I mean, I Mexican food is my favorite food now. And I probably put salsa in almost my eggs, almost everything I eat now.
yeah.
So, and I love the taco truck, red salsa and green verde. Both of them are my with a little bit of a spice.
Hmm,
I
hmm.
like that a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't want to burn my mouth out because I want to get all the calories I can. But you know
Not
what? I got to
not to
tell you,
mention the coming out. I don't want to. Yeah, you don't
yeah.
want
Well,
to damage
no,
yourself.
you just put a fire extinguisher by your toilet. It's no big.
Yeah,
I found like a 2 or 3 second burst, and you get it. But if the smoke gets in the air, then yeah, then they think you're burning bodies. The police show up. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
it's embarrassing for everybody
yeah,
because when they snap on the rubber gloves, you know
yeah.
where it's going.
Um, Now that you're talking about the war and talking about like people that were around during that time, and um, I forgot to mention the Audrey Hepburn documentary that's on Netflix.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so it's a good one. It's slower paced. It's kind of like one that you would see on like a PBS or something like that, but it's more highly produced. Um,
Totally. And she was it what ambassador or what was her role at the end?
yeah, so she
Right?
she was with UNICEF before like
Yeah, okay.
UNICEF was really like a big
But
major.
wasn't she part of the government or work for the US government? Oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no. Didn't she for a little bit?
Yeah, so she was a representative. They asked her, and then
Okay.
she agreed to it. And I think at that time she stepped away from acting, and she felt like it was a thing to do. And I think when she her experience through her experiences, she really took it on the mission on, and did it all the way up until she died.
Well,
Um,
I mean, she was a class act. She's a fashion icon, and her movie Breakfast at Tiffany's
mhm.
with George Papard is,
It's great.
it's a
You can find
classic.
that on
It's known
Amazon.
for everything.
Yeah, and I think definitely one of those classic beauties, like you could like that transitions
She was
like.
also in the original Sabrina
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, she was. Yeah,
that was remade later with
with Harrison Ford. Yeah,
Harrison Ford and Kinnear,
yeah.
Greg Kinnear.
She was
Which
she was her interest story was interesting. I think she grew up in Britain and then moved to Holland, but she moved with her mother. They're very poor. The town that they lived in got taken over by the SS. So her it was even more of a stricter environment than just regular Nazi kind of controlled town or whatever. But she did a lot of their performances and her dance. She started out in dance mostly, ballet. Um,
I
that
was
was
going to
all.
say ballet.
Yeah, that
She's
was
very
all.
small person.
It was all. It was all done like underground. She said that like they would have underground performances and they wouldn't even clap. They would just because they didn't obviously want to alert thing. So food was scarce and all this other stuff. So it was a very crazy thing. But I think they, before the war really took, went to a larger effect in Europe, her dad was a Nazi sympathizer. Her mom was a Nazi sympathizer too, and I think was a writer at a newspaper and wrote like a couple like pro articles for like how she thought the Nazi movement was a good thing. That was before I think it became what it was. Um, and then her dad was, I think he was like one of the main guys in uh, the fascist movement in England. So he was one of like, so he was a sympathizer. And then I think he took off on her and the family on an early age. He never, she found him like way after the war, when she was an older woman. And he was still alive. So but the relationship he was not, that receptive. So she kind of struggled with that kind of stuff. But man, her story was great. They showed a lot of old footage. Went through her entire history, and it's a lot of stuff I didn't know. And yeah, I put her in like those, Sophia Loren type of like um, Linda Carter type of like celebrity female actresses that like they're admired for like their beauty and also whatever maybe possibly talent and all that, but definitely their beauty, and you could see that their look and their appeal, you could put her in any kind of decade or any kind of era and she will shine. You know what I mean? Like you could take a Linda Carter and you put her in a movie today, she'll just a jaw dropper. You know what I'm saying? So like with the Audrey Hepburn, I think she has that appeal. She's much like in the male side of things, like um what's his name, like a Steve
Danny
McQueen.
DeVito.
Yeah, like like a Paul Newman or like a Bruce Lee. Like to imagine like Bruce Lee on the movies at that time, he doesn't seem like he would even fit like that era. You could put him in this era and he will shine. You know what I mean? He
Well,
just
you have
has
to
that.
get a new haircut though.
Yeah. He has that like that multi-generational like appeal, and I think she's up there. I think for sure.
Oh, I mean, of course,
Yeah.
fashion icon.
But as far as
You know,
look and
but
and how they are on screen, because some people are just some people when you watch them they fit that era and only that era. If you take an Audrey Hepburn,
yeah, well, it's
you can put
interesting you
her.
say that because you do see certain nostalgic or movies about the past, and the actors do not. Certain actors fit the times, and some don't. And I
Yes,
can't
yeah,
pick it out, but every once in a while you see someone, it's different features, and it's
yeah,
really interesting. You remember in Silence of the Lambs,
yeah.
first time Hannibal Lecter sits and talks to Jodie Foster and breaks her down, he says she's one generation out of poverty
Mm-hmm.
because of the bone structure being different and whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
in that concept is just carried on further, but it is interesting though.
Yeah, yeah,
And you were talking about the past, and it's interesting. So like my grandfather was, lived when there were just the beginning of cars. He
yeah,
worked at the Etzel, so he lived when there were no cars,
yeah.
but they were in his teens when he started coming in. So horses to cars. He saw the wars, 3 wars, and then in '69, when he's an old retired person, you've got the landing on the moon.
Mm.
I mean, in your
Yeah,
brain,
yeah,
like
yeah,
for me to grow up and we've already landed on the moon, it makes the Marvel world and everything closer than
yeah.
beforehand.
No, yeah.
Beforehand, it was just H.G. Wells.
You grow up in that era, you see automobiles develop, air travel develop, TV, film, movies go from black and white, silent to color to this and this and that. And it's like, and then yeah, the moon landing and computers, and it's just like you
I was talking to someone that my generation really we straddled the fence between the two. But what's interesting is that the digital world, which
Mhm.
can be controlled by the government,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
if they wanted anything, they would rather you be in your house,
Oh yeah, yeah,
not doing anything, watching TV, because that way you can't question.
yeah. And I think
So in some ways, the digital age might have been overly enhanced in certain developments, let's say in business, travel, um, commerce will never be the same. Amazon will never back off. They made such huge gains this last year.
yeah,
So in some ways, we've advanced digitally, maybe not physically, but emotionally, because
yeah,
we're stuck in the house
yeah,
or whatever. And even then, even when things open, it's like people are just never, it's going to be a different world. I don't know if there will be the Beijing situation, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, but a lot of the formats will be totally changed
yeah.
because all these people are beefing up all these the plastic separations. I just was walking by somewhere and I was thinking, man, think how much that cost.
Yeah, yeah,
And then and what happens if they don't pick up or what happens? It's just a weird. I'm going to get the vaccine myself as soon as I can.
hmm.
I wanted to get just the one shot, but
From
I
what I
couldn't.
hear, I think I don't know if that one's
You
as
can't get it.
as easily available. No, I don't think
No,
so
it
either.
says, and I don't want to go. So anyway, I wish it would just come to CVS and I could just go over there and get it.
Supposedly that's the plan. I hear the Moderna one is the more popular one to get, but I don't know. I'll probably get it at some point too. I'm not. As time goes on, I think probably before summer, I can see myself getting the vaccine at some point. I think that's what they're aiming for, right? To have everybody, for the most part, vaccinated, a majority of the people vaccinated before summer.
They don't, you know what the weird thing is that they stopped calling me from the White House. I don't know why. I keep telling them what to
You're not
do.
getting any updates, no?
Yeah, well, I'm not getting one from Biden, but I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm a little scared for that guy a little bit more and more.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like, can he put a sentence together?
Or I mean, he did take a. Did you see the stumble on the way
Well,
up?
that was impressive because that goes. It was funny. My wife said, "Oh, people should be making fun of that," and I said, "We wouldn't have heard of Chevy Chase if he didn't stumble with Gerald Ford in that whole first season of Saturday Night Live. That
Yeah,
created a career for him. Was falling
yeah.
anyway. It's just like whatever.
It's
So
it's whatever. I know. It's. I thought it was amusing. You felt bad for him. I see how some people could take aim at it. It is what it is. It's fine.
did you see the video I sent you on your
Yeah,
phone?
no, I haven't taken it because we logged on here, so I haven't even checked it out yet. Is it the golf swing? I thought I saw this. The golf
And look where the ball goes.
swing.
Is that not awesome or what?
Yeah, yeah, that was good.
If I could manipulate video, that's all I would do. That kind of
Just
stuff to
make a bunch
me,
of that.
I
Yeah,
could
I
make
would
a
too.
career. I could just run that all day. That stuff's funny. But anyway,
What is that? Photoshop? I'm assuming that's Photoshop, right? What is that?
I
Adobe
don't know.
Premiere? I don't even know what program you
Well,
would need.
yeah, it's awesome. Whoever did it did a great job. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny. But no, other than that, it's been just. Is it supposed to rain?
It
All
it
cloudy.
it's been cloudy all day, and it looks like it's supposed to rain. It looks like it will. I haven't checked, but I saw the sun at one point. But we'll see. But what else before we go? Anything else you want to touch on? Anyone bring up?
No, just have a good day, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, to me it's Norm Macdonald stand up and Dean Martin celebrity and Carol Burnett. Those were my favorite takes. I tried another shot at Mank and then the trial of Chicago 7. It's
Mhm.
got great dialogue because Sorkin is great with
Yeah, he's
dialogue,
great.
but some of it they focused on the signs and what the signs were saying, and I thought it was a little overhanded
Yeah.
for being trying to compare last year to 68 whatever. So in some ways it was overhanded. Remember, he directed this himself,
Yeah.
And so, but the truth is, it's well done. The performances are great, but I felt like I'm watching TV. And I think for Oscar, I need some magic. And
Yeah, you
that,
need some. I get
you
what
know
you're
what I
saying.
mean? That's just what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And so nice job, Mr. Sorkin. Because he's older than me, I have to say Mr. to him. Because that's called respect.
Yeah.
You'll learn that someday. When you start calling me Mr. Kales. Or Sir Kales.
Have you seen it?
What is it when you're knighted?
Sir. I think
Is
it's
it
Sir.
Sir
And
then?
yeah, Sir Paul Kales. Yeah, I think it
Sir
almost
Paul.
seems like they say your whole name when you have Sir.
I'm
Sir,
very
like
comfortable.
Sir Anthony Hopkins, Sir Ian McKellen.
Okay.
You know what
The
I'm saying?
problem with that is that no one pronounces my last name right.
Yeah.
So it's Sir Paul Callis
Okay.
or Sir Paul Calles. Now I'll go with Sir Raul Calles because that sounds pretty hip. Could be from Spain, you know.
Yeah.
I would like that a lot better. But whatever. So that's all I got for you.
Sounds good, man.
I got to go to work.
All right. You have a good day. We'll catch up. And yeah, thank you for everybody watching the show. Subscribe, like, share, and we'll catch you guys all next week.